Welcome to FYIVT, your inside source for news and in-depth analysis on what's really happening in Vermont. We want to start by saying thank you to all our listeners and supporters. Your continued encouragement fuels our mission to dig deeper and bring light to critical issues that shape our communities. We couldn't do this without you. Today, we're diving into our article titled, Orwell Isn't Just a Town in Vermont. In George Orwell's novel 1984, the government controls what people think by controlling what they see, read, and hear. Sound far-fetched? Perhaps not as much as we'd like to believe. Vermont's media landscape, while not Orwellian by design, certainly leans toward a narrow band of thought. The results? Less debate, less innovation, and a lot less trust. Take Front Porch Forum and 7 Days, for example. These platforms often favor progressive narratives on issues like climate change, social justice, and renewable energy. On the surface, that might seem harmless. Aren't these good causes? But dig deeper, and the problem becomes clear. When conservative or libertarian voices are pushed to the margins, what's left is an echo chamber, one that stifles creativity and alienates a significant portion of the population. Think about it. If the same voices dominate the conversation, who's challenging the assumptions? Who's asking the hard questions? Without that tension, ideas don't evolve, they stagnate. And in a state like Vermont, where our challenges are as unique as our culture, this lack of diversity in thought is a missed opportunity. Missed for the economy, missed for innovation, missed for our communities. How does this play out in real life? Let's look at Vermont's energy policies. Renewable energy mandates often dominate the headlines, celebrated as solutions to climate change. Meanwhile, the economic consequences of these policies, like rising utility bills and higher costs for small businesses, get brushed aside. Have you noticed this? Where's the voice for working families, retirees on fixed incomes, or young people trying to get a foothold? Who's asking whether there's a better way? Here's the reality. Renewable energy isn't the problem. The problem is how the conversation is managed. By focusing on only one side, Vermont's media leaves out alternative solutions that might lower costs while still achieving environmental goals. What about free market incentives for energy efficiency? What about technologies that empower individuals rather than centralized control? These ideas deserve a seat at the table. And it's not just energy. Look at how platforms like Front Porch Forum handle opposing viewpoints. Here's a platform that claims to bring neighbors together. Yet it actively silences posts linking to conservative outlets, labeling them as misleading. What does that say to Vermonters who don't fit the mold? It sends a loud message. Your voice doesn't matter. Your ideas don't count. Stay quiet. This isn't unity. This is division masquerading as progress. Imagine being part of a community discussion where your ideas are dismissed before they're even heard. How does that foster collaboration? How does that solve problems? Spoiler alert, it doesn't. And let's not ignore the impact on those who dominate the narrative. When only one perspective is amplified, it creates a false sense of correctness. People begin to believe their way is the only way. But is it? Look at history. Look at science. Progress is built on disagreement, on debate, on the clashing of ideas. When one side is silenced, everyone loses. What about the practical consequences? Let's return to Vermont's economy. When progressive policies dominate the narrative, their costs often go unexamined. For example, how do mandates around renewable energy impact small businesses already struggling to survive? And how do these costs trickle down to the consumer, whether through higher prices, limited services, or job losses? These aren't abstract questions. They're the reality for many Vermonters who feel left out of the progressive vision of the future. Now let's pause. What if Vermont had a media landscape that genuinely embraced diverse viewpoints? Imagine a space where progressive, conservative, libertarian, and independent ideas all had room to breathe. What could that look like? Perhaps media coverage that explores the economic challenges of climate policies alongside their benefits. Perhaps public forums that celebrate, not censor, different perspectives. Trust could grow. Innovation could flourish. Solutions could emerge. Doesn't that sound like the Vermont we all want? Here's another thought. What if we as Vermonters demanded more from our media? What if we refuse to accept the echo chamber? After all, isn't the role of journalism to challenge power, not reinforce it? To ask tough questions, not avoid them? If our media isn't doing that, maybe it's time we ask why. And more importantly, maybe it's time we seek alternatives. Balance is the key. Media outlets should challenge their audiences, not just affirm their beliefs. Platforms like Front Porch Forum should open the door to all ideas, not just the ones that align with their comfort zone. Community isn't built by silencing disagreement. It's built by embracing it. And what about the cultural costs? When dissent is discouraged, creativity suffers. Vermont has a proud tradition of ingenuity, from its small businesses to its agriculture. But ingenuity thrives on competition, on the exchange of ideas. By limiting that exchange, the current media environment stifles the very spirit that makes Vermont special. But change doesn't start with the media. It starts with us. The next time you read a story, ask yourself, what's missing? What voices aren't being heard? What assumptions are being left unchallenged? And don't stop there. Seek out the other side. Ask the tough questions. Demand better. For yourself, for your neighbors, for Vermont. So let's open the doors to real dialogue. Let's bring fresh air into the echo chamber. Vermont deserves nothing less. Freedom is the foundation of prosperity. Stay informed, stay vocal, and most importantly, stay free. Thank you for listening to this episode of FYIVT. To read the full article and explore more on what's happening in Vermont and how the state works, visit us at FYIVT.com. We appreciate your support and look forward to continuing to bring you important perspectives on Vermont's most pressing issues. Until next time.